Good morning, everyone. This is Aditi Nala Reddy from Birla Open Minds International School, Kollur. Welcome to the first episode of Back to School with Birla Open Minds. Today, we're here with a very talented abstract artist, Miss Shravanti Jaluri, who is also the daughter of yesteryear legendary actress Jamuna. She graduated from Stained Glass Garden and Mountain View Glass Academy, California, USA. She's been part of various national and international art shows. Her work is an extensive of her heart and emotions while working with an element of freedom. Hello, ma'am, and thank you so much for being the host for today's episode.
Thank you for having me here today.
I've seen some of your artwork on your social media, Instagram, and personally, I find abstract art to be one of the most intriguing forms of art. And I feel like your art in general is very ambient.
Thank you.
So back to this topic of back to school. What school did you attend to, and what's your favorite memory from that time?
Well, I attended NASA School, which is right here in Hyderabad. And in terms of my favorite time during school was definitely art class and English class. But other than that, the fondest memories I have of my school is actually during the monsoons. I was actually getting nostalgic this morning because we had the most amazing mud puddles. And back at home, my parents weren't very keen on me playing with mud puddles. So I'd make sure, every time it rains, I kind of take permission from the teacher to kind of with the lamest excuses to leave the classroom and just go and jump in the mud puddles. That did get me into trouble. Don't get yourself into trouble.
So as a child, you would have got a lot of attention. Did you ever feel like as a child celebrity, you missed out on normal school or having a normal teenage life?
Yes, I definitely did. Because, coming from a celebrity family, especially from the movie field, so you're at the focus of attention everywhere. And I do agree that even in school, I was the center of attention. People made sure that, I was happy. I was actually pampered in school to a certain extent. So even if I didn't submit my homeworks in time, I was not too much into trouble, except with the strict teachers. But I think the best time of my school was actually my teenage years, because that was the time when my mother was the member of parliament. So we didn't have enough freedom at home because of security reasons. So I made the most of my school time, having fun, playing around and stuff. Yeah, I think that was the best time of my life during school.
As a child, we have a lot of inspirations or a lot of things that we build our characters on. What was your biggest inspiration growing up?
I think to a great extent, my father was my greatest inspiration. He was a zoologist with the Osmania University, and he would always have his research students over, and they would keep traveling across the country. They would go to these forests to do research on wildlife, and I would totally enjoy going out into the forests and experiencing freedom. And I think that particular freedom that I experienced at that time is still reflected on my art.
Talking about inspiration, a lot of kids and even adults have a hard time figuring out what they want to do with the rest of their lives. How would you say it felt when you found what you were really passionate about?
So I was very passionate about art since I was a little girl, and my work was very offbeat. So I kept, every time I would enroll myself in art competitions, quite honestly, during school time, I would be the first person who was rejected because my work was not according to the norms of what an artwork should be. It was extremely offbeat. But I was never sure if I would pursue art as a career. So I was kind of, sometimes thinking I'd be a movie artist like my mom. Sometimes I would think that I should be a paleontologist or a veterinarian. So art is something I was very deeply passionate about. And of course, because I had no, figure to motivate me to become an artist, I guess it just happened by fluke. And I said, sometime when I was around 21, if I'm not mistaken, I was vacationing in Berkeley and I was sipping on a cup of coffee and I was just chilling, having a really good time. And then I saw these guys carrying this huge sheet of blue glass. And the way the sun was setting behind that sheet of glass, I was absolutely mesmerized. I mean, you could say I was hypnotized by it. And I followed these guys into this wonderful art gallery, which had nothing but glass art. And that's when I knew this is my calling and I should be an artist.
And do you have a book, a song, a person, or any belonging that you would say positively shaped you to the person you are today?
I think while I was growing up listening to Pink Floyd, and I'm still a self-proclaimed Floydian, I think that was the greatest influence I had at every stage of my life. And even now, I'm extremely influenced by Floydian philosophy.
That's very cool. And as a child, we have a lot of lessons and a lot of things that we learned from. What would you say was your most meaningful lesson?
Well, actually, I do wish I was a little more disciplined, and I feel that's what was my biggest drawback because I was too chilled out as a child. I feel that maybe if I was a little more dedicated and a whole lot more disciplined, I would have been more accomplished today.
I have a lot of embarrassing moments, and I'm just 13. So if you could go back to the time that you were in school, would you change anything?
Yes, definitely. I would be a little more obedient and not get myself into trouble as much as I used to.
We all have comfort zones, some things that we're just not comfortable doing, and you're known as someone who is very expressive and very bold. How are you able to do that?
Uh, I was always very bold and expressive since I was a child, and sometimes I would actually get scolded for being that way. And I think as an artist, especially as somebody who's in the fine arts or somebody who's into performance arts, the greatest gift you have is self-expression. And it's not like acting. See, when you're an actor, you're playing somebody else's character. You're not yourself. But when you're a painter, or you're a singer, you're a musician, you get to be yourself. You get to express your deepest thoughts and ideologies. That might inspire other people to be like you, to live a better life. And I think that's the only reason I'm so bold as I am today.
I'm pretty sure a lot of our listeners, a lot of people who are watching this right now want to pursue a career in the creative industry. So what would your advice be to them to conclude this episode?
Well, to begin with, being in the creative industry is quite a struggle. And I know a lot of very talented artists who gave up art and pursued other careers just to make a livelihood. Because the biggest drawback here is people expect you to follow somebody else in terms of work. They want your work to be a certain way. And when you're trying to break that boundaries and trying to express your own ideologies, it is a struggle. And I've been through that struggle. And I said, no, I'm not going to give up, because there'll be a point where people will accept what I'm trying to do. So I would only say never give up hope. And your identity is unique to what you are.
I think that's great advice. Thank you so much for your words of wisdom. And I'm sure they would definitely help someone out there. It was a pleasure interviewing you. And thank you for being on this episode. That's it for this episode. Do catch us in the next episode where we interact with another esteemed guest and learn all about it. This is Aditi from Birla Open Minds. Thank you for watching.
Thank you so much.